As the sunset in Boston dipped between the skyscrapers, Olivia Montgomery gazed out the window of her luxury apartment. Her face reflected both the strength that had helped her overcome past hardships and the confidence that came with success. With her hair styled simply and wearing a soft gray cashmere sweater, she embodied sophisticated urban beauty. "Mom, I finished my math homework." Noah's voice called from the living room. Her 10-year-old son was full of intellectual curiosity, inheriting his mother's sharp intuition along with a gentle temperament. Olivia smiled as she returned to the living room, gently stroking Noah's head as he sat on the sofa using his tablet. "That's wonderful, Noah. You're always such a hard worker." Olivia picked up the investment report from the coffee table. Working as an investment advisor at a prominent Wall Street firm, she had built an impressive career over the past few years. Even after divorcing her husband Thomas 3 years ago, the alimony and child support from his income as a surgeon allowed Olivia and Noah to maintain a financially stable life. Suddenly, the phone rang. Looking at the screen, she saw it was from her sister Karen. Olivia hesitated for a moment before pressing the answer button. "Olivia? How are you?" Karen's voice carried its usual sarcastic tone. "I'm fine, Karen. Did something happen?" "I'm hosting Emma's birthday party next Saturday. She's turning 8. It would be lovely if you and Noah could come." Olivia paused to think. Her relationship with her sister Karen and mother Elizabeth had grown even more complicated in recent years. Karen's marriage had failed, and she had moved back to the family home with her 8-year-old daughter Emma to live with their mother Elizabeth. Both women clearly resented Olivia's success and often treated her with contempt when in her presence. "Hello? Are you listening? Will you come?" Karen's voice grew impatient. "Yes, of course I'll come. I'd like to see Emma, and I'm sure Noah would be happy to as well," Olivia answered quietly. Right after the call ended, a message arrived from her mother. "I heard from Karen. Please come. I'd love to see Noah after so long." Olivia sighed. Time with family was always tense. After her parents' divorce during high school, Olivia had worked part-time jobs to pay for her education. One of those jobs was as a hotel cleaner. Karen and her mother still used this fact to look down on her. "Mom, was that a message from Grandma?" Noah looked up at Olivia with curious eyes. "Yes, we've been invited to Emma's birthday party. Would you like to go?" Noah's face lit up. "Yes. I'd love to see Emma after so long." Seeing her son's pure smile, Olivia felt a tightness in her chest. Perhaps for Noah's sake, she should make an effort to repair family relationships. No matter how much they hurt her, they were still blood relatives. The next day, Olivia went to a high-end department store to buy a birthday present for Emma. She chose a pretty dress from her niece's favorite brand and the latest tablet that Emma had been wanting. It was an expensive gift, but Emma was important to Olivia. While having the presents wrapped, Olivia thought about the upcoming party. She knew Karen and her mother's glances, their sarcastic remarks, and memories of the past would trouble her. But for Noah's sake, and for Emma's, Olivia was prepared to maintain her smile and handle whatever situation arose. Because they're family, she told herself as she accepted the wrapped presents. On the day of the party, Olivia checked her outfit in the mirror several times. Her navy blue dress was simple yet exuded elegance. It was obviously expensive but without ostentatious flashiness. Karen always described Olivia's fashion sense as plain and boring. "Mom, is my tie okay like this?" Noah asked, a bit nervous in his new blazer with a small tie. Seeing her son, Olivia's heart swelled with emotion. He already carried himself with the demeanor of a little gentleman. "It's perfect, Noah. You look so handsome." The two got into their luxury car and headed to the suburbs. Her mother's house in Newton, a Boston suburb, was a typical New England mansion with white columns and a spacious lawn. It was the home where Olivia had spent her childhood, but now it felt like an unfamiliar place. When they parked in the lot, several cars were already there. Emma's friends and Karen's acquaintances had already arrived. Olivia and Noah rang the doorbell, and Mother Elizabeth opened it. At 65, she made efforts to look younger than her age with perfectly styled hair and an expensive pearl necklace. "Olivia, Noah, glad you could make it." Elizabeth's voice was warm, but her eyes were cold as they assessed the two. "Everyone's already here." Entering the living room, Olivia saw guests gathered in the elaborately decorated room. Pink and gold balloons hung from the ceiling, and the table was laden with an extravagant cake and sweets. Karen was chatting with guests, a wine glass in hand. She was 2 years older than Olivia but clearly trying desperately to look younger. Her tight dress and large jewelry were her attempt to project the image of a successful woman. "Olivia. You came." Karen embraced her sister and planted an artificial kiss on her cheek. Then she whispered in Olivia's ear, "What a plain outfit. Couldn't you dress up a bit more?" Olivia smiled and replied, "It's Emma's party, so she should be the star." "Aunt Olivia." Emma came running over. Wearing a pink party dress, her golden hair bounced at her shoulders. Olivia hugged Emma and handed her the wrapped presents. "Happy birthday, Emma. This is for you." Emma's eyes lit up as she took the package. "Can I open it?" "Of course." When Emma opened the presents, out came the latest tablet she had wanted and the pretty dress. Emma squealed with delight and threw her arms around Olivia. "Thank you. Mom, look. It's the tablet I wanted." Karen's expression hardened momentarily. "My, how nice. Olivia always gives such extravagant presents. We could never match that." Olivia said nothing to this sarcastic remark. Soon Emma was called by her friends and returned to the circle of children. Noah gradually began to mingle with the other children as well. "Noah is always so quiet and reserved," Elizabeth approached with a coffee cup in hand. "Jennifer's son, Karen's friend, has already won the junior tennis championship." "Does Noah play any sports?" "Noah is in the chess club and won a tournament last month," Olivia answered quietly. "He's quick-thinking and good at strategic thinking." "Chess?" Elizabeth said with a slight sneer. "Well, that's fine too, but don't you think active sports are necessary for boys?" "Maybe because you're raising him alone, he lacks male influence." Olivia took a deep breath and smiled calmly. "Noah does what he enjoys and succeeds at it. I'm proud of that." As the party progressed, Karen began talking louder and louder with the guests. She had drunk several glasses of wine and her cheeks were flushed. "Hey everyone, listen." Karen suddenly raised her voice. "Let me tell you about my sister Olivia. She married a doctor, you know. But as soon as he became successful, she divorced him and squeezed a huge settlement out of him." The room fell silent. Olivia felt frozen. Karen continued. "She dumped the man but made sure to secure the money. That's why she can pretend to be an investor while living in that fancy apartment." Then Mother Elizabeth joined in. "That's right, but Olivia wasn't always wealthy. During college, she worked cleaning toilets at hotels to earn living expenses. Becoming a single mother and struggling, it's really shameful, isn't it?" Olivia felt her face grow hot. Her mother and sister were talking about her past struggles as if they were something to be ashamed of. The other guests in the room looked uncomfortable but no one stepped in to stop them. "Mom." Noah's small voice came from beside Olivia. His eyes looked up at his mother with concern. Olivia smiled gently at her son and put her arm around his shoulders. "It's okay, Noah." But inside, anger and sadness were swirling. No matter how successful she became, would she always be a shameful existence in her family's eyes? With Karen and Elizabeth's laughter ringing in her ears, Olivia quietly stood up. "Excuse me, I need to use the restroom." No one followed her. Olivia whispered to Noah, "I'll be right back," and climbed the large staircase to the second-floor bathroom. Passing by what used to be her room, she opened the old wooden door. Once inside the bathroom, Olivia finally let out a deep sigh. Looking at herself in the mirror, Olivia reflected on her life choices. She was proud of working her way through college, building her career, and raising a loving son. Yet somehow, she always lost confidence in front of her family. Just a little longer, Olivia told herself. For Noah's sake, and for Emma's. She cooled her face with water and took a deep breath. Looking out the bathroom window, she could see children playing happily in the garden. Noah was among them, talking with Emma and her friends. A small smile appeared on Olivia's lips. At least Noah seemed to be enjoying himself. For my son's sake, Olivia told herself. I want Noah to feel a connection with family. No matter what Karen and Mother say, Emma is Noah's cousin. Looking at herself in the mirror, Olivia remembered the past. In college, she had worked various part-time jobs to pay for tuition and living expenses. One of those jobs was cleaning at a local luxury hotel. She would work early mornings, then attend college. Sometimes she studied late into the night, sacrificing sleep. Karen always called her the family's shame. Living at home with their parents' support while attending a private university, Karen couldn't understand Olivia's struggles. But those experiences are what made me who I am today, Olivia said quietly. Those struggles made me stronger. After college graduation, Olivia began working in finance. Through work, she met Thomas, and they married. He was a capable surgeon, and they led a wealthy life. However, as Thomas became increasingly absorbed in his work and their relationship grew colder, Olivia began to feel lonely. When Noah was 5, they divorced. Yes, she received alimony and child support, but those were her legal rights. It wasn't squeezing money, as Karen had said. Olivia sighed. Why did she still have to endure such treatment from her family? She had lived honestly, worked hard to raise her son, and built her own career. Just a little longer, then I'll take Noah home, Olivia resolved. We never have to come back. As she was wiping her face and fixing her appearance, suddenly she heard a strange sound. At first, she thought it was her imagination, but it was clearly a human voice. Olivia stopped moving and listened. The voice seemed to be coming from inside the wall, no, from the ceiling vent. A small, thin voice. Aunt Olivia. Olivia caught her breath. It was Emma's voice. She looked up at the ceiling vent. She had heard that the old mansion had an air conditioning system connecting the rooms, which sometimes carried voices. Emma. Olivia called softly. Aunt Olivia, can you hear me? Emma's voice was faint but clearly urgent. Yes, I can hear you. What's wrong? After a moment of silence, Emma's voice came again, even more tense than before. Run away. Right now. A chill ran down Olivia's spine. What? What do you mean? It's dangerous. Get away quickly. Mom and Grandma are planning to do something to you and Noah. I heard them say they were going to put something in your tea. Olivia froze. It took a few seconds to understand the meaning of Emma's words. Karen and her mother were trying to do something to her and Noah? Surely not put sleeping pills or something in their drinks. Emma, really? Where did you hear this? Last night, I heard Mom and Grandma talking. They said when you came to the party, they would prepare special tea. And Emma's voice trembled. They said something about making you sign some documents. Various thoughts raced through Olivia's mind. Recently, she had become co-owner of a property in her mother's name. It was a legal arrangement set up by her mother after her father's death for tax purposes. Could they be trying to make her give up those rights? Emma, are you okay? You're not in any danger, are you? Olivia asked worriedly. I'm fine. But I'm worried about you. Emma's voice broke off. Oh, someone's coming. I have to go. Emma, wait. But there was no response. Olivia kept staring at the ceiling vent, trying to organize the situation in her head. Was this true? Were Karen and her mother really plotting something against her and Noah? Come to think of it, Karen had suddenly started contacting her more frequently in recent months. And calls from her mother about family bonds had increased as well. Until now, Olivia had considered this a sign of reconciliation, but perhaps there was some other intention. She had heard rumors that Karen and her mother were in financial trouble. Child support from Karen's ex-husband was minimal, and her mother's pension alone would make it difficult to maintain this large house and their standard of living. I need to think calmly, Olivia told herself. She needed to leave the bathroom, secure Noah first, and then find some evidence. As she put her hand on the doorknob, Olivia took out her phone. She decided to activate a recording app in case something happened. She might need evidence. Taking a deep breath, Olivia opened the bathroom door. The hallway was quiet, with the lively sounds of the party coming from downstairs. She moved quietly toward the stairs but stopped when she heard Karen's voice. "We'll start soon. I've prepared the special iced tea." Olivia paused and hid. From around the corner of the hallway, she could see the stairs leading to the kitchen. There, she saw Karen and her mother, whispering and pouring something into glasses. "Are you sure about this?" her mother's voice was heard. "She'll feel sleepy right away." "Yes, it's the sleeping pills I use. They're strong, so they'll work quickly," Karen's voice had an eerie confidence. "Once Olivia signs, everything will be ours." Olivia's heart pounded. This was no joke. They really were plotting something. Emma's warning had been correct. A mixture of fear and anger swirled inside Olivia. But she needed to stay calm now. She needed to protect Noah and get them both safely out of this situation. Olivia quietly checked her phone's recording. Karen and her mother's conversation had been properly recorded. She now had evidence. Next, she needed to find Noah and leave this place. Hiding in the shadows of the hallway, she considered how to safely reach Noah. Various thoughts raced through her mind. Olivia quietly descended the stairs and observed the party. In the living room, children and their parents were gathered, watching Emma open presents from her friends. Karen and Mother Elizabeth came out from the kitchen, apparently preparing for the special hospitality. Karen held 2 glasses in her hands. What she called special iced tea was an amber liquid with ice floating in it. After checking her phone recording and setting it to continue recording in sleep mode, Olivia looked for Noah. Fortunately, he was standing by the window overlooking the garden. "Noah," Olivia quietly approached her son. Placing a hand on his shoulder and carefully checking their surroundings, she said in a low voice, "Listen carefully. Special tea will be served soon, but don't drink it under any circumstances." "Why?" Noah looked puzzled, but sensing the tension in his mother's expression, his face immediately became serious. "I'll explain later. Just do as I say. If you're offered any drink, say your stomach hurts and refuse it." Noah nodded slowly. Since he was little, he had known that his mother's words always had an important reason behind them. "Okay, Mom." Just then, Karen approached Olivia with the glasses in hand. "Olivia, here's special iced tea. I made it especially for you." Karen's smile appeared kind on the surface, but her eyes weren't smiling. Olivia pretended to be calm and smiled. "Thank you, Karen. I was really thirsty." She took the glass and pretended to take a sip. "It's delicious." "What's in it?" "Secret recipe," Karen said proudly. "Oh, and there's something I want to talk about after the party. Some papers I need you to sign regarding Mom's property." "I see," Olivia maintained her composure. "What kind of papers?" "Just formalities. Since Mom is getting older, we want to get things in order in case something happens," Karen answered lightly, but her eyes were sharp. Olivia nodded. "Of course, I'm happy to help." When Karen left satisfied, Olivia immediately took action. She went to the kitchen, made sure no one was there, and emptied her glass into a potted plant. Then she took regular iced tea from the refrigerator and poured it into her glass. Next, she found her mother and Karen's glasses and discreetly switched them with the special iced tea Karen had prepared. If they had really put sleeping pills in it, they could have a taste of their own medicine. When she returned to the living room, Mother Elizabeth approached her with a smile. "Olivia, are you enjoying yourself? I see Karen gave you the special tea." "Yes, it's delicious," Olivia smiled and slightly raised her glass, which actually contained nothing suspicious. "Are you drinking it too?" Of course, Elizabeth took her glass and had a sip. But it was now the glass that Olivia had switched. The party continued, with children eating cake and playing with presents. Noah followed Olivia's warning and didn't drink anything. After about 30 minutes, strange changes began to appear. Karen suddenly sank deep into the sofa and began rubbing her eyes. "Somehow, I'm suddenly feeling sleepy." Mother Elizabeth similarly began slurring her words and her posture slumped. "I also feel strange." The party guests looked at them with concern. "Are you all right?" one mother asked. "Are you feeling ill?" "Just a bit tired," Karen forced out the words. But her eyelids were drooping heavily. Inwardly, Olivia was calmly analyzing the situation. Her guess had been correct. Karen and her mother had really intended to use sleeping pills. And now, they had fallen into their own trap. "Karen, Mother, you both look unwell," Olivia approached with concern. "Is there anything I can do to help?" Karen looked up at Olivia with a suspicious expression. Her eyes were losing focus. "Why are you still fine?" At that moment, Olivia saw her chance. She took out her phone and stopped the recording. Then she pressed play. Karen and her mother's voices echoed through the room. "Are you sure about this? She'll feel sleepy right away." "Yes, it's the sleeping pills I use. They're strong, so they'll work quickly. Once Olivia signs, everything will be ours." The room fell silent. The guests looked at each other in astonishment. Even the children, sensing that something serious was happening, stopped playing and looked at the adults. "What is the meaning of this?" Olivia quietly asked Karen and her mother. "Were you after my assets and my son's future?" Karen's face turned pale. "No, that's not it." Elizabeth also tried to make excuses, but the sleeping pills effect prevented her from speaking clearly. "The evidence is clear," Olivia said calmly. "You were trying to drug Noah and me to make us sign documents. Were you perhaps trying to make me give up the rights to the property in Mother's name?" Voices of surprise rose from among the guests. One woman stood up and said, "We should call the police." "Yes," Olivia answered quietly. "This is clearly a criminal act." From the corner of the room came the sound of small footsteps, and Emma ran over. She threw herself into Olivia's arms and began to cry. "Aunt Olivia. I'm glad I warned you," Emma said through tears. "I was scared when I heard Mom and Grandma planning something bad." Olivia gently embraced Emma. "Thank you for being so brave, Emma. Thanks to you, we're all right." Noah also ran over and hugged his mother and cousin. "Emma, thank you. You're a real hero." Karen, slumped on the sofa, looked at Emma with angry eyes. "You traitor." Her words were broken. "No." Emma wiped her tears but bravely talked back. "You're the bad one, Mom. Aunt Olivia and Noah are so kind, why do you bully them?" The surrounding guests had already taken action. One person called the police, and another, apparently a medical professional, was checking Karen and Elizabeth's condition. "They'll be fine, it's not life-threatening," the woman said. "It looks like an overdose of sleep medication. The police and paramedics will provide proper treatment when they arrive." Olivia held Noah and Emma, waiting for the situation to be resolved. The party was completely ruined, but she felt a strange sense of relief. The mental abuse she had endured from her family for years was finally coming to an end. When the sound of police sirens approached, Olivia quietly made a decision. From now on, she would create a new form of family for herself and her son, and if possible, for Emma too. Today's events had taught her that caring for each other was more important than blood relations. "What's going to happen now?" Noah asked in a small voice. Olivia gently stroked her son's head and answered, "Don't worry. Things will get better from now on. We can become a real family in the true sense." Both Emma and Noah smiled, reassured by Olivia's words. Across the room, police officers were handcuffing Karen and Elizabeth, reading them their rights. Their faces showed anger and a sense of defeat, but they no longer had the power to hurt Olivia. This court finds the defendants Karen Montgomery and Elizabeth Montgomery guilty of attempted assault and attempted fraud, the judge's words echoed through the courtroom. Olivia sat quietly, controlling her emotions. 3 months after the incident, the trial had finally reached its conclusion. Throughout the process, Karen and Mother Elizabeth never admitted their guilt, instead continuing to denounce Olivia as a selfish woman trying to monopolize the family's assets. However, the recorded evidence and witness testimonies were clear. The judge continued, "Defendant Karen Montgomery is sentenced to 2 years imprisonment with probation, and Elizabeth Montgomery to 200 hours of community service." Also, a restraining order is issued against both defendants regarding Olivia Montgomery and Noah Montgomery. When leaving the courtroom, Olivia was holding Emma's hand tightly. After the incident, the court had granted Olivia temporary custody of Emma. With Karen receiving a criminal punishment, it was determined that she couldn't provide a suitable environment to raise Emma properly. "Do you like your new home?" Olivia gently asked Emma. Emma showed a bright smile. "Yes. I love that my room is blue and I can see the park from the window." Noah also joined in happily. "We're like real siblings now." Yes, Olivia embraced them both. "We are a real family." A year later, Olivia's new home was filled with warm laughter. Emma had officially become Olivia's adopted daughter and began attending a new school with Noah. The two children quickly grew close, supporting each other as if they had been siblings since birth. At dinner, Emma suddenly said, "Hey, Aunt. Mom. I'm really glad I found the courage to warn you that day." Olivia smiled gently. "I'm the one who's grateful for your courage, Emma. You are our true family." "I'm grateful too," Noah added. "I don't know what would have happened without Emma." Outside the window, the sunset was painting the city red, outlining the new family in gold. Olivia looked at the children, reflecting on the unexpected turns of life. The pain and suffering of the past had now brought her the greatest gift. Meanwhile, Karen in prison showed no signs of remorse, instead nurturing her resentment towards Olivia. She got into trouble with other inmates, resulting in an extension of her sentence. Elizabeth fulfilled her community service obligation but gradually began to have health problems. Her large house was sold, and she began living alone in a small apartment. Occasionally, she would look out the window and think about the family she had lost, but her pride would not allow her to utter words of apology. Olivia sometimes thought about her mother and Karen. But now, instead of being trapped in past suffering, she focused on the happy reality before her. What she had learned was that true family is not determined by blood relations alone, but by love, respect, and trust for each other. "What shall we play tomorrow?" Emma asked Noah. "Let's fly the new kite in the park," Noah answered. Olivia listened to the children's conversation, quietly savoring her happiness. Their story was not an ending but a new beginning.